welcome back to my class. This is Majabin Fatima, Commerce lecturer at Eleveth High School and Junior College. So in our previous session, we have completed 8th chapter in Commerce of Inter first year, and today in this session we are going to start our 9th chapter in Commerce, that is Sources of Business Finance. Now let's start with the merits of debentures. So the first one is debentures are preferred by investors who want fixed income at lesser risk. So these debentures, they are preferred for the investors who want their fixed income at the lesser risk. By taking the less risk, if they want more income, then at that time they will proceed for debentures. And these debentures, they are fixed charge funds and do not participate in profits of the company. So these debentures, they are of fixed charge funds and they do not participate in the profits of the company. The issue of debentures is suitable in the situation when the sales and earnings are relatively stable. And financing through debentures is less costly as compared to cost of reference or equity capital, as the interest payment on debentures is tax deductible. So these financing which is done through the debentures is less costly when compared to the cost of reference or equity capital, as the interest payment on debentures is tax deductible. Let's see some of the limitations of debentures. As fixed charge instruments, debentures put a permanent burden on the earning of a company. There is greater risk when earnings of the company fluctuate. So the first limitation of debenture which we can say that as they are the fixed charge instruments, they put the permanent burden on the earnings of the company, and there is a greater risk involved when earning of the company is fluctuating. And the next limitation is, in case of redeemable debentures, the company has to make provisions for repayment on the specified date even during periods of financial difficulty. So under redeemable debentures, we can see that the company has to make the provisions for repayment on the specified date even if there are the financial difficulties in the company, or if the company is running with financial difficulties, even though in such cases also these redeemable debentures has to make provisions. And the last limitation is, each company has certain borrowing capacity. With the issue of debentures, the capacity of company to further borrow funds reduces. So each company, they has the certain borrowing capacity, means they can borrow up to a certain limit, right? So with this issuing of debentures, the capacity of the company to further borrow funds will be also reduced. Now let's see medium term sources of finance. So the first one is public deposit. The deposit that are raised by organization directly from the public are known as public deposits. Any person who is interested in depositing money in an organization can do so by filling up a prescribed form. The organization in return issues a deposit receipt as acknowledgement of the debt. Public deposits can take care of both medium and short term financial requirements of a business. The deposits are beneficial to both the depositor as well as to the organization. While the depositors get higher interest rate that offered by banks, the cost of deposits to the company is less than the cost of borrowings from bank. Companies generally invite public deposits for a period up to 3 years. The acceptance of public deposit is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI. So the deposits that are raised by the organization directly to the public, and if the public who is interested to deposit their money in the organization, then they can proceed for public deposits, and they can do such thing by filling up a prescribed form. So there will be a form given to the public. If they are interested to deposit their money, then they can fill up that form and they can deposit their money. And here the organization is returning issues of deposit and receipt as an acknowledgement of the debt. And the public deposit can take care of both medium and short term financial requirements of the business. And these deposits, they are beneficial to both, to the depositor as well as to the organization, while the depositor is getting higher rate of interest than which is offered by the bank. So the companies generally, they will invite the public depositors for the period up to 3 years, and the acceptance of public deposits, it is regulated by RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. The next medium term source is loans from commercial bank. Commercial banks occupy a vital position as they provide funds for different purposes as well as for different time periods. Banks extend loans to firms of all sizes and in many ways like cash, credit, overdraft, term loans, purchase, discounting of bills and issue of letter of credit. The rate of interest charged by bank depends on various factors such as characteristics of the firm and level of interest rates in the economy. The loan is repaid either in lump sum or in installment. Bank credit is not a permanent source of funds, though banks have started extending loans for longer periods. Generally, such loans are used for medium and short periods. The borrower is required to provide some security to create a charge on the asset of the firm before loan is sanctioned by a commercial bank. So, here the commercial bank, they are occupying a vital position as they are providing funds for different purposes as well as for different time periods. And these banks, they are extending the loans of the firms of all sizes in many ways like cash credit, overdraft, term loans, purchases, discounting of bills and issuing of letters of credit, etc. And the rate of interest which is charged by the bank will be dependent upon various factors of the characteristics of the firm and the level of interest rate in the economy. And this loan should be repaid either in lump sum or in installment. And here the borrower, whoever is interested to take loans from these commercial banks, he has to provide some security or create a charge on the asset of the firm before a loan sanctioned by the commercial bank. The next medium term source is lease financing. A lease is a contractual agreement whereby one party, that is the owner of an asset, grants the other party the right to use the asset in return for a periodic payment. In other words, it is a renting of an asset for some specified period. The owner of the asset is called as the lessor, while the party that uses the asset is known as the lessee. So, here under the lease financing, it is a contractual agreement, we can say, whereby one party who is the owner of the asset will grant the permission to another party to use their asset for a specified period of time and for a periodic payment, we can say. And in other words, we can say that it is like the renting of an asset for some specified period, and the owner of the asset is called as the lessor here, and the person or another party who is using the asset for a particular period of time by paying for a particular period, then that party is also called as lessee. And the last one is short term sources of finance. The short term loans and credits are raised by a firm for meeting its working capital requirements. These are generally for a short period not exceeding accounting period, that is 1 year. The main sources of short term funds are as follows. So, there are some short term loans and credits which are raised by the firms for meeting its working capital requirements for meeting its day-to-day operations, we can say, and they are of generally short-term period which do not exceed accounting period, that is 1 year. So, the first one is bank credit. Commercial bank extend the short-term financial assistance to business firms by means of bank credit. Bank credit may be provided in following ways. So, these commercial banks, they are extending their short-term financial assistance to the business firms by means of the bank credit. Like first one is loan. Bank loans are provided for specific short period. The amount of loan depends upon the size and goodwill of the firm. So, here the bank will provide the loan for a specific period of time, and the amount of loan will be dependent upon the size and goodwill of the particular firm. And the next one is cash credit. Bank grants the cash credit up to a specific limit. Business firms can withdraw any amount within that limit. So, here again the banks, they are granting the cash credit to the specific limit. Up to a certain limit, the bank will provide the credit facility to the customers, and here the business firms, they can withdraw any amount within that limit, and interest will be charged on the actual amount drawn and list on the full amount of the specified limit. So, obviously the interest will be charged on the actual amount which is withdrawn by the customer. And the next short term source is overdraft. Under overdraft facility, bank allows the business firm to withdraw the amount even more than the customer's balance in the bank. The limit of extra withdrawal is also fixed by the bank. This limit is decided on the basis of credit worthiness of the borrower. Interest is charged on the overdrawn money. So, here the name itself is declaring that it is the overdraft, or under overdraft financing facility, the bank will allow the business firm to withdraw the amount even more than the customer's balance in the bank, and the limit of extra withdrawal is also or will be also fixed by the bank. So, this limit is decided on the basis of the credit worthiness of the particular company. The next one is straight credit. Trade credit is a credit extended by one trader to another for the purchase of goods and services. Trade credit facilitates the purchase of supplies without immediate payment. So here the trade credit will be given to the customers who are purchasing the supplies without paying immediately, and this credit is the credit which is extended by one trader to another for the purchase of the goods and the services. The next one is installment credit. This is another method by which the assets are purchased and possession of goods is taken immediately, but the payment is made on installment over a predetermined period of time. The name itself is declaring that here the installment facility is given to the customer or to the company. So this is the installment credit where the assets are purchased and possession of goods are purchased or are taken immediately, but the payment will be made on installment over a predetermined period of time. So generally the interest will be charged on the unpaid price, or it may be adjusted in the price. So the next one is advances. Some business organization get advances from the customers and agents against orders, and this source is short term source of finance for them. It is a cheap source of finance, and in order to minimize their investment in working capital, some firms having long production cycle, especially the firms manufacturing industrial products, prefer to take advance from their customers. So here the term itself is also declaring itself that advances, here the advances will be given from the customers and agents against the orders, and this source is also called as short term source of finance. And the last one is commercial paper. So as we have discussed about it in our previous chapters, that this commercial paper is an unsecured promissory note which is issued by the firm to raise funds for a short period of time, varying up to 90 days to 364 days, and it will be issued by one firm to other business firms. So here we are done with the topic non-institutional sources of finance. Now let's see what are institutional sources of finance. The Government of India is order to provide adequate supply of credit to various sectors of the economy has evolved a well developed structure of financial institutions in the country. Depending upon the geographical coverage of their operations, these financial institutions can be broadly categorized into all India institutions and state level institutions. So again, under institutional sources of finance, we are having two financial institutions, and the first one is All India institution and the second one is state level institution. They subscribe to the debenture issues of companies, underwrite public issue of shares, guarantee loans and deferred payments, etc. The state level institutions are mainly concerned with the development of medium and small scale enterprises, but they provide the same type of financial assistance to the national level institutions. So here these state level institutions, they are mainly concerned with the development of medium and small scale enterprises, but they at the same time they provide the financial assistance to the national level institutions also. So here some names of national level institutions is given, that a wide variety of financial institutions have been set up at a national level, and they caters to the diverse financial requirements of the entrepreneurs. So these includes All India Development Banks like IDBI, SIDBI, IFCI Limited and IIBI. And second one is they are specialized financial institutions like IVCF, ICICI, Venture Funds Limited, TFCI, etc. And the last one is investment institutions like LIC, GIC, UTI, etc. So these are some of the national level institutions. Now let's see the last topic of our chapter, that is international sources of finance. So liberalization and globalization process initiated in India in 1991 have opened the gates for the foreigners to invest in India and vice versa. So here in India we are having liberalization and globalization, and which has been initiated in the year 1991. They have opened the gates for the foreigners to come and invest in our country. Since then, certain international sources are available for financing purpose. So since that time, some of the international sources are available for financing purpose. And here some of the well known international sources of finance are described, like American depository receipts, global depository receipts, Indian depository receipts and foreign currency convertible bonds. So here the foreigners, even they can come to our country and they can take part as the investors in our country. So here the opportunity is given for the foreigners, we can say, where these foreigners, if interested, can come and become the investor of our country's companies. So this was all about our ninth chapter, that is sources of business finance. I hope you understood the chapter very well. Let's continue our next chapter in next class. Thank you.